right? Getting into the warm-up, right? The main reason to get into the warm-up phase, right, of doing things is to prepare the body for the work session. So if I don't do the warm-up, number one, typically what we'll see is that people fatigue faster, right? They have this kind of central nervous system fatigue, especially in sports that are, and I come back to wrestling, especially in a sport like wrestling where you go from 0 to 100,000 in 1 second. As soon as basically somebody goes to grab you and try to wrestle with you, boom, you're in this huge fight or flight. So if you're not physically prepared for that, you usually see this big bonk within like a minute or two, or the next thing you know, you're what we would call gassed out. So the warm-up should really be designed specifically to not allow that to happen and prepare the body to get the most out of the working part of the training session, right? And a lot of times we don't really have the time, or we just don't do a great job with programming this stuff correctly. I see it especially in physical therapy. It's usually very general, and we're not doing something that's really creating a lot of activation in the body as well. I feel like the trainers typically do a lot better of a job with us at this point, but they tend to be a lot more general, right? Where on the PT side, we have a tendency to be more evaluation based and trying to give people, you know, the specific thing that's specifically for the protocol that we're using for that knee replacement or, you know, rotator cuff repair or whatever it is. But then again, we have a tendency to not, you know, focus as much on that because of time constraints a lot. So in the first 10 to 15 minutes, it should be typically some type of low to moderate impact, you know, cardiovascular exercise like the one I have listed here. Obviously, I'm biased towards the wobbler and the crawler and those things. It's like, you know, you can use a lot of different things to just simply get somebody's heart rate up, right? Is primarily what you're trying to do, increase tissue temperature and whatnot. The literature actually shows that doing cardiovascular exercise for 10 to 15 minutes increases tissue temperature higher than it does for using like hot packs and ultrasounds and things like that for thermal modalities and PT. So it's really important that we do this. Also, anything that we can do to increase blood flow is going to increase health in somebody. And also coming back to training, we want to get the cardiovascular system ramped up and ready to go. So when we get into the working set, that everything's ready to go again, and the nervous system is going to do what we want it to do to the best possible.